After Noah and his clan settled the South Caucasus, his son Shem established a kingdom in Mesopotamia. Abraham, the ninth in descent from Shem, colonized the land of Canaan. The 12 tribes that collectively formed the Israelite nation were the descendants of Abraham's grandson Jacob, who had 12 sons. Several generations later, in the late 11th century BCE, Saul officially founded the Kingdom of Israel, which was defended by a valiant warrior named David. After King Saul and his son were killed in battle against the Philistines, David slew and beheaded the Philistine giant Goliath and succeeded Saul. David's son and successor, King Solomon, became the wealthiest and wisest ruler of Israel and built the historic temple named after himself. Upon Solomon's death, 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel held on to the northern part of the kingdom, while the tribes of Judah and Benjamin declared the south independent and renamed it the Kingdom of Judah. From the 8th to the 6th centuries BCE, the whole region was invaded by Assyrians and Babylonians, who destroyed Solomon's temple in 587 BCE. After the fall of Babylon to the Persian king Cyrus the Great in 539 BCE, the tribes of Judah and Benjamin restored their kingdom and began rebuilding the temple. The other 10 tribes, known as the Lost Tribes of Israel, settled in what is today Iraq and Iran. In the year 6 of the Common Era, the Kingdom of Judah came under Roman rule. Solomon's temple was once again and definitively destroyed by the Romans in the year 70, and the native Jewry began migrating to northern Africa and southern Europe. The ruins of the Ostia synagogue near Rome are evidence of the earliest Jewish diaspora community in Europe. The lost tribes of Israel, collectively known as the Mizrahim or Orientals, were free from Roman rule and split into 3 large groups: the Persian, the Caucasian, and the Chinese. The first one, that is the Persian group, spread from eastern Anatolia through Syria, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan to western and southern India. Moses ben Hanok was one of 4 Persian Jewish scholars who were traveling to Italy in the 10th century. While sailing across the central Mediterranean, they were captured by a Moorish Spanish pirate. Moses was taken to Cordoba, Spain, where he was welcomed by the local Jewish community, and on account of his knowledge of ancient mysticism, he was elected rabbi and founded a school in the city, thus laying the foundations of the Kabbalah. The Kabbalistic tree of life was based on an ancient Armenian symbol, and the concept of the 10 Sephirot was partly based on Vishnu's 10 avatars as well as the 10 halls of hell in Taoist mythology. The second large group of Asian Jews was the Chinese one. While their ancestral headquarters remained in Uzbekistan, some of them traveled through Kyrgyzstan and settled in Henan, central China, in the 7th century. Others chose southern China, where they mingled with the local Sino-Tibetan population and formed the Nashi tribe. The name Nashi derives from the Hebrew Nashim, meaning women, as Nashi society was matriarchal and matrilineal. The Nashi devised a complex hieroglyphic writing system to record the ancient Hebrew creation myth. They originally worshipped a god named Sanduo, related to the Chinese deity Shangdi and the Hebrew Shaddai, and eventually created a syncretic form of Jewish Buddhism. The more conservative Chinese Jews migrated further southwest through Myanmar to northeastern India, where they established an Orthodox Jewish community. The third and last large group, namely the Caucasian one, spread from Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan to southern Russia, Ukraine, and western Kazakhstan. Kartlos, namely the ancestor of the Georgian nation, was none other than Noah's great-great-grandson. Matrilineality and matriarchy were characteristic features of Judaism, but they were soon adopted by other populations in the North Caucasus and the Pontic steppe, such as the Cimmerians, whose fierce female warriors were known as the Amazons. Azerbaijan was the holy land of fire worship, and Prometheus was exiled there as a punishment for teaching the use of fire to mankind. The Georgian king Aeetes owned the golden fleece, a symbol of authority and kingship, which was finally seized by Jason and the Argonauts. From the 7th to the 10th centuries, the Khazar Empire dominated the Pontic steppe and the North Caucasus. The Khazar population was a congeries of Turkic and Slavic nomads and small Jewish settlements. The Khazars became one of the foremost trading powers of the early medieval world, commanding the Western Silk Road. The Khazars' predominant religion was shamanic, like that of most other Eurasian nomads. But in the 8th century, they were pressured to convert to Christianity by the Byzantines and to Islam by the Arabs. Against all odds, they chose Judaism in order to remain independent and neutral. After the conquest of the Khazar kingdom by Sviatoslav I of Kiev in 969, the local Jews became isolated in small towns called shtetls. In 1775, Rabbi Shneur Zalman from the village of Lyady in western Russia founded the Lyubavitch Chabad, the most influential Jewish Hasidic dynasty in the world to this day. From 1826 to 1855, Tsar Nicholas I aimed to destroy Jewish life through a series of pogroms, which lasted until 1917. Finally, the Bolshevik Red Army opposed anti-Semitism, and in 1928, the Jewish Autonomous Oblast was established around the village of Birobidzhan in eastern Siberia, along the border with northeastern China. However, in the 20th century, millions of Jews from Eastern Europe and Asia emigrated to Israel and the United States, thus greatly depleting the Eurasian Jewish population.